Hey everybody, welcome back. As promised, here is my take on tango dissociation, which is one of the more confusing and frustrating concepts in tango. And it took me a long time to figure it out. So I am giving you the simplest understanding of the concept, and hopefully it will clarify some of your own confusion. And if not, please pop in your questions in the comments below. I would love to hear from you and see what else I can help you with when it comes to this concept. So it's not the best word to describe tango. Dissociation tends to bring up negative emotions with that word, but all it really means is one thing going away from something else mechanically. So if I move my arm and my body moves in the opposite direction, so my chest is going forward while my arm is going back, I am dissociating my arm from my body. I can do that in any part of the body, but when it comes to typically it's referring to is what your spine is going to do to spiral around your partner. So a word that I really like using is the word spiral rather than dissociation. What we're talking about when we're saying spiraling the spine is we're talking about spiraling the thoracic part of the spine. So when you're with your partner in an embrace, whether it's a follower or a leader, you should find within your range of motion a spiral in your upper spine that will allow you to spiral around your partner in different turns. And this is where a lot of questions arise. Well, how much should I spiral? How much is too much? And where are my feet supposed to be? And how am I going to align my posture? How do I know I'm aligned correctly? So this tutorial will give you some of the ways that you can figure out for yourself what the spiral should feel like in your body and what are the limits, natural limits of your range in your spine that you need to obey in order for tango to work in your body long term without straining your body, without injuring your body. So for this, if you want to join me in this exploration, you can grab a stool and sit on the stool. I have just my sit bones on the edge so that my spine is in its neutral alignment. And when we're saying neutral, we want to have a slight lower curve in the lower spine and a curve that goes the opposite direction. So it goes this way, and it's called a kyphotic curve. That curve then will repeat, that rhythm in the body repeats. You have the lower dotic in the lower spine, kyphotic in the thoracic spine, lower dotic in your neck, and then kyphotic is in your back of your skull. Now, when we're thinking about spiraling, we want to come at it from the perspective of a neutral spine. So I talked about this before, is that especially when it comes to the thoracic part of your spine, which is between the base of your neck and kind of like the bra line where the curve of your spine changes directions. This is the part of the spine that we're talking about. That part of the spine is naturally kyphotic, and this is the place when it's naturally in its curve is when it's going to have the most range of motion. The degree to which this kyphotic curve is pronounced will be different from different people, but in general, you will have sort of a natural feeling when you can breathe into both the front and the back of your ribs, where you will feel that kind of centeredness. And that's how you know when your spine is neutrally aligned. A lot of times when we're growing up and we're instructed to have good posture, or when we start dancing and somebody tells us to stand up straight or lift our heart, we end up assuming a default posture like this, which is what I used to think what it means to stand up straight, is to have my chest lifting up like this. But as you can see, what that does is it flattens out my thoracic spine, which means that when I turn, I only can turn a small portion of my natural range. In order for me to fully feel my range, I need to relax my ribs and come back more into a neutral spine and then begin to turn. So you can sit down, breathe into both the front and the back, and find your neutral spine. Then from here, I want you to bring your arms as if you're, and keeping your arms exactly in front of you, I want you to turn your chest to the right. And with your hands exactly the way they were, just see where your hands are. In my case, my hands are just slightly to the right of my right knee, that's below it. And then I come to center, and then I go to the other side. And now my hands are slightly to the left of my left knee. We can call this 12 o'clock. The space between my hands is 12 o'clock. And then I turn to my right, your left. So as I'm turning here, now my hands are at about 1 o'clock from my perspective. Then I come back to center and I turn to the other side, and now it's about 11 o'clock from where I was before. This is pretty much the natural range for everyone. I don't think we need to strive for more range. It should feel very comfortable and not like you're straining. And the other important thing is that you're really using your core to turn yourself rather than relying on any external support, because what we're trying to find is what is your natural curve and what is your natural range of motion. What is your body willing to do? So as I turn aside here, I want to feel that my core is engaging, that I'm turning my spine with the muscles inside my body. And the other thing I keep track of is that it's as if I'm trying to bring the hip and the opposite rib together. So something that I emphasized a few lessons ago is that when you're turning, you don't want to turn up, away, and exaggerating forward. You want to instead imagine that you're actually bringing it in. I want you to see it from the back because it will be much clearer. So again, the difference between if I extend my chest forward and begin to dissociate, I will only be able to turn this much. And right now my hands are just over my right knee. I can't turn it any more than that. If I go to the left, same thing. I get locked up. From here, if I relax my ribs, I breathe into my back body, I can feel that my spine is more neutral. Then I think about bringing my left rib to my right hip as I turn to my right. And now my hands are a bit past my knee, so I've turned more. And then I come back and I go to the other side. And same thing, I'm thinking about bringing my right rib to my left hip, okay? Doing this while you're sitting will give you a more true alignment. But next time we're going to look at this standing up, and I'll show you how it applies to the common figures like ochos and boleos or ganchos. So we'll talk about it, but for today, I want you to explore this within yourself on a seat and just see what you feel. You'll probably notice one side will be easier than the other. Lastly, I just want to emphasize that this is not just a better way to do it so that you have more dissociation for tango. This is good to do just for health reasons as well, because what oftentimes happens if your thoracic spine gets locked in forward and you still dance and you're still dissociating, the way that your body will get that range is going to be from the lower vertebra of your thoracic spine, which is about right here. It's a T12. It's a really interesting place in the body. This vertebra, the bottom of it is shaped like the lower doses of the lower back, and the top of it shaped like the thoracic spine. So it has a little bit of twisting action, and what ends up happening is all of your twisting action then comes from this one little vertebra. and you end up hurting yourself, which I've done many times on my way to figuring this out. So I hope that it makes sense for you why it's such an important piece in your technique. So try it out. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.